Welcome. I'm here with Paul Maas. He's the Strategic Program Manager for Dell Technologies. We're here at the Modern Day Marine event in Quantico, Virginia. And Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
I just wanted to ask you, first of all, there's so much going on, acquisition changes, technology changes. How can industry take advantage of that and help the Marines out with the things that they need most in the 21st century and beyond?
Well, when we talk to senior leadership, what they really need is it's the speed of the information, getting the information to the Marine on the front line. They need to have that move at a speed like they've never seen before. So we're working with them on different solutions, whether it's AI, whether it's the cloud. That's the solutions that we're bringing to the table. And around acquisition, one of the things that I've seen the services doing recently is efficient use of that OTA authority. So that allows them to get what they need. There's real pressure to make sure they're bringing an affordable solution forward in a short time frame. And OTA allows them to do that.
Now, industry is trying to take advantage of the OTA. There's a lot of opportunity there for small business. And is there any opportunity for larger businesses, too, like Dell, to work within the OTA frame?
There are opportunities. We belong to a number of the consortiums that have popped up. So we're providing solutions. And when you talk to leadership, there's a real need to have that information forward to the Marine in the field. So they need information pushed forward to the tactical edge as quickly as possible. We have a number of solutions that enable them to do that. And when you talk to leadership, their very first comment is, we want a solution that's been tested in the fighting hole before you bring it back to the flagpole. So that's one area that we're ensuring we work closely with Marine Corps leadership on.
So speaking of OTAs, that's very innovation driven and working on getting those new technologies out. Right now there's a lot of focus on driving IT innovation. How can that innovation within IT help with capabilities, with new technologies, all those types of things that are kind of coming up?
Well, when you talk to the Marine Corps, it's all about that Marine on the edge, right, at the tactical edge. So we've got solutions that, whether it's a ruggedized laptop or whether it's a ruggedized Azure stack, do they want a 2 or 4 man cloud solution that they can put in a case and carry forward? Do they want it mounted in a Humvee? There's a number of opportunities with the Marine Corps to really inject new technology and test it out with them prior to it being fielded.
Now, one of the things when it comes to buying new technologies, it costs money, right?
It does cost money.
The budget doesn't look like it's going to be going up much more. There's been quite a few bumps in the past 2 or 3 years, but after that, the budgets are looking like they're going to be flattening. How can the Marine Corps still operate in that environment?
Well, I think the Marine Corps, like the other services, they've been looking at data center modernization and consolidation for probably the last 15 years. So we're working closely with them on what makes sense when it comes to modernizing. What applications need to be moved to the cloud? What can stay in the traditional data center? So one of the things we first do is we get involved in apps rationalization. So they've got a number of applications. Some aren't being used. Some are duplications. So we work with them on the apps rationalization, then determining what's the best route for the application. Should it be moved to a hybrid cloud type model, or should it stay in the traditional legacy data center?
And how are you kind of using those metrics to find that out and figure out, what app needs to stay in that traditional data center and what app can go to the cloud and be more agile?
We have tools and services that we provide the customer that actually go out and take a look at the amount of usage on a particular application, and then see the functionality of the app and whether it's something that's duplicated there in the enterprise or not.
So when it comes to IT on the edge, IT that's out there, we were talking about the rugged computers and things like that. What is out at that spear end right now, and what kind of technologies are Marines seeing?
Well, again, it's all about the speed of decision making, right? So if I can fight, I want to fight forward, I've got to bring the data forward. So if I can bring the information to the Marine in the foxhole, the fighting hole, they get the opportunity to then make quicker decisions on what to do next.
So how are you reaching out to the Marines? It's not always easy to kind of get that in, especially if you're a smaller company. Now, Dell obviously not a smaller company, but how can you tell the Marines what you already have, and then also meet the requirements that the Marines are asking for when they need something directly from you?
Well, we've got a long, rich tradition here with working closely with the Marine Corps. We provide on-site engineers for them. We provide technical account managers. So we'll actually go out and help them pilot a particular solution prior to purchasing it. So there are a number of things that we provide for them that really don't cost them anything, but aid them in sort of the requirements process and the architecture that they want to design.
Well, there's been a lot of changes in acquisition over the past 2 years through the NDAAs and things like that. Has that helped Dell reach the military better, and has it worked through the acquisition cycle a little bit better for you guys?
I think it has. We've got a number of GWACs that we have available to the Marine Corps. There are a number of ways for them to get to us, like most companies out there. I think another thing that the Marine Corps is looking at and really ready to take advantage of is the as-a-service model. So that allows them to have a predictive model that shows what the cost is going to be month to month, year to year, and keep their technology refreshed on a regular basis.
And you were talking about that as-a-service model. What about commercial off-the-shelf? That's something that's always something people are talking about. How are you giving that opportunity out and making it available?
Well, I think we have commercial solutions. So if you look at Dell, Dell's not the same company that it was 7 years ago, right? We've come together as Dell Technologies, a merger with EMC. We've brought the 7 families together, and it's really a complementary portfolio that's already integrated. So there's prepackaged, if you will, integrated solutions that we offer to the Marine Corps. And if you're taking a look at the data center, whether it's a hyper-converged, converged, purpose-built storage solutions, they're all meant to work together. So whether we're taking the customer to a hybrid cloud model or whether we're staying in the traditional data center, we have something that satisfies their requirements.
So let's talk about the future a little bit. It's almost 2020 now, and what kind of technologies are you seeing the Marine Corps needing in that future, and how are you trying to provide those? What kind of research and development are you looking into?
Well, I think it's all about the data center. How many data centers will we really need going forward? What can we send to the cloud, right? So when we look at cloud, we always say, remember, cloud's not a destination, it's an operating model.
Right.
And I think we saw the government and the services take that cloud-first approach, and now we just heard today that they're pulling back, right? Let's take a look at what makes sense instead of trying to push everything to the cloud. So that's really where we'll continue to work with the Marine Corps on these solutions.
Has it been frustrating working with DoD in the cloud with all the kind of jumps over the starting line before that they were ready for it and things like that? We've had the JEDI contract, which has had some, industry hasn't been exactly happy about it. What are your feelings on that?
Well, I think we've seen a lot of contracts awarded. I just don't know how many applications we've actually seen migrated to the cloud up to this point, which is why I think the services are pulling back and taking a second look, right? Cloud smart, so be educated on what the possibilities are, but know that not every application needs to move to the cloud. In some cases, we'll keep that data in a legacy data center. If we look at artificial intelligence, that's going to be a huge growth area, I think, here in the future. Artificial intelligence, machine learning. But the problem is the legacy infrastructure may not be set up to take advantage of that, right? So we may need to go in and modernize. When you look at data sets that are 1,000 times larger and you're collecting data from a significant number of users, you're going to have to go in and make sure your data centers are modernized for that.
Right. Now, what about cost savings? That's something that the Marine Corps and DoD at large are always looking into. How can moving to the cloud save money, and how can it, working with Dell, help save some money when it comes to consolidating contracts or anything like that?
Well, I would say that we've seen use cases from some of the services where they don't necessarily save money. In fact, it may cost a little more upfront to get into the cloud. But what you hope to do then, in the case of the services, is take the uniformed personnel that are responsible for operations and maintenance and move them into another area. Reutilize those resources, that human capital piece.
Great. Well, Paul Maas, Strategic Program Manager at Dell Technologies, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.